So if you're interested in creating a menu for your game and you don't really know where to look, then you've probably found the right place, because in this video we're going to do it completely different to every other YouTube tutorial out there. So this is going to be like a mini course, and I'm going to show you how to create a professional menu system with buttons that have full functionality, a 3D video in the background with like a slight blur over the top. We're going to add sounds to the menu for when the buttons are pressed to make it like more professional, with custom fonts, custom buttons as well. So you'll learn some of like the creative aspects of menu design, like adding functionality to the buttons when they're not just pressed but they're also like hovered. Okay, and basically everything in between. So by the end of this video you'll learn all that and you can implement it into your workflow. This is like the longest video I've done on this channel, and definitely the most in depth. So I really do hope you enjoy, and I hope you learn something new. Let's get started. So first things first, let's start off with a new project, and we're just going to name it whatever you want, and it's going to be a third person game mode. This is what we want. I'm just going to name mine Squid Game main menu, because that's what I'm going to be creating. And I've added some stuff here. I've skipped ahead a little bit, and now all I've done is downloaded a font off the internet, a Squid Game font, or Game of Squids I think it's called, and 2 images, 1 logo and 1 background. And we're just going to create a new level, because that is very important for this. And then we're going to save the new level as main menu level. Okay, so next what we're going to do is create a new user interface, and it's going to be widget blueprint, just like this. Click that, user widget, and rename it WB underscore main menu. And this is going to be what we show on the screen. Okay, so let's just dock this over here, and the first thing we need, in fact I'm just going to save right now, and the first thing we're going to need is a canvas panel. So just type it in this little bar up here, drag it down onto the main menu, like that. Next we're going to need a button, so we just drag that down, that's in the comment section, and we rename this one like start button or play button or start game, whatever you want really. So I'm just going to name mine start button. And this is going to be the actual button that we click. So let's just drag this into the center of the canvas panel and just size it just like this. We're going to change this later, so don't worry about it too much. Then we're going to add a text and rename this whatever you said, whatever you wrote for the button. So mine's start. I'm going to write start text. So we've got start button, start text, like that. And it just makes it easier when we're in the event graph. And I'm just going to rename the text to start. Just like this. I'm going to do all caps for this one, because I'm going to add a custom font, so it looks better with all caps at the moment. So that's sweet. And for the anchor, we're going to anchor it to the middle. And for the text, I don't think we actually need to do anything, because we're already parented by the to the button. Okay. Now let's select the text, and I'm going to show you how you can like customize this, make it look pretty cool. So here's color, and we're going to change the font to the font I imported earlier. I will leave this in the description so you can use this as well if you want to create the same one as me. And then with the start button selected, we're just going to duplicate it by pressing Control and D, and rename this one to settings button or options or whatever you want, and the same for the text. So it's going to be like settings text or whatever, and then change the actual text in the details panel here to settings, like that. Let's drag it somewhere around here. Next we're going to do the exact same, so duplicate the settings button this time and drag, in fact I'm just going to rename it here to quit, and then just rename the button and the text just like I do. So it's going to be quit and it's going to be quit text. It's a bit tedious doing this, but trust me, when you're in the event graph it just makes it 10 times easier, so it's worth doing. It's like really good practice to do this. So just try and line up. Okay, so the next thing we need to do is add a vertical box, and this is going to be we're going to drag it onto the canvas panel so it's below everything else, and we're just going to reparent all this just like this, like that. So all the text, sorry, all the buttons are going to be parented to the vertical box, and then we can just drag the box out just like that. Just size it accordingly. I'm just going to do it somewhere in the middle just like this. And now you can see everything's fitting perfectly inside that little vertical box, and we're just going to anchor it to the center just like this. Now you can see everything's kind of messed up, and this is the reason I did it this way, so I can actually show you the parenting system. So let's click compile, save all. And firstly, I'm going to add some padding. So the bottom, I'm probably just going to add, let's see, 50 and 50 and 50, just like this. So that's for the top and the bottom, on each button that is. Okay, so that just gives a little bit of spacing, but the text is in the incorrect order. So what we need to do is we just need to like drag this. Yeah, so we're just going to change the order. So let's drag the button. So the start one needs to be at the top. The quit button needs to be at the bottom. So we're just going to drag the settings one up. So it should look like this basically. So it'll be vertical box, start button with the start text, settings button with the settings text, and then the quit button with the quit text. Hopefully that made sense. You might need to slow that part down a bit, but I just wanted to show you what would happen if you just dragged them all in and didn't do the correct parenting. And for the padding, I'm going to add 50 to everything, because I want a little bit of spacing on the outsides as well, just like this. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner. Now we're going to add our background image, and I've already got one, so I'm just going to drag a image into the viewport just like this. Drag it just below the canvas panel, and we're just going to size it just like this. You can, in the right hand side, you can do size X and size Y to 1920 by 1080, and that'll fit it perfectly. So with that selected, we're going to go to brush, and we're going to find our image. And our image is the one that I downloaded off Google. This one here. So select it, click the background, brush, image, and the arrow, and there we go. We have that, our little Squid Game background as well. But I just don't think it really goes that well, so there's a few things that I'm going to do here. Now if you just drag our vertical box just like this, so it's more of like a square kind of shape, and we just position it somewhere in the center, then what we can do is we can separate the foreground from the background. Okay, so if we just like bang it here, then we can add a blur to the background, so it just like it doesn't really get in the way as much, the background that is. So I'm just going to search for blur, background blur, and as you can see, can't drag it on top of the image, so we have to drag it like one below, and it's not doing anything right now because it's not been sized. So actually I need to drag this back above the image, or below, sorry. And then on the blur strength on the right hand side, on the appearance, just like this, and as you can see it separates it, and the background doesn't really get in the way that much now, so it looks a little bit cleaner. But I'm not really liking the shape or the colour and stuff like that about these buttons, so what we're going to do, we're going to change it now. So firstly, what we can do is, we don't want to do this one because that is foreground. We're actually just going to change the background opacity just like this. Background color and opacity. Just find something that you like. You can always come back and change like any of this stuff later. So you can change the font, you can change the buttons, and you can change the background, and I'll show you how to do all of that. So let's move this saturation up a little bit, just like that. And the background color, we can actually right click in the open space and just paste it, just like this. I'm not sure a lot of people know about this, but it's really, really handy. And we're going to be using that a lot for this main menu system. Right, okay, so I'm not really liking the shape of these buttons. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to change the corners of these. So if we go to the details panel, with a button selected. We're going to go to style, appearance, style, and then corner radius. If I zoom in and I change these values, you can see like the corners will go from less like a 90-degree to more like smoothed, and I think it just adds like a lot to the buttons. Like look at that, it looks so much better in my opinion. It's just like if like a lot of little things make a huge difference in things like this. So it's just like little details like that, it just separates it from the rest really. And we can change the outline width and all this kind of stuff. So I've done a black outline and just changed the width, and just like we did before, we can actually just copy and paste all of this. Let's see what it looks like with white or pink, purple, like that. Let's lower this background like that. That's what I want. Then it's got like some kind of like we're using like the background color and then the outline to like add a highlight around the edge of it, and the settings. Sorry, the start text. We're just going to change the font to white. I think I prefer that, and then add a little outline on the outline settings of the text, that is, with an outline size of 2. Let's see that. And you can actually do the same thing on the corners, make it sharp or smooth by using the metered corners. I'm going to leave mine as it is, and as you can see, like these little details here, they add so much. Like, so if we just select the button and we go to style and just click the style here and paste the style on the next button. Oh wait, yeah, that's right. So as you can see, the corners are changing. Next, we're going to right click the normal, just like that, on the first button. On the second button, we're actually just going to paste it in just like we did before. And we can do this for the background color as well, just like this. Okay, that's looking pretty good. All we need to do now is, I think we need to change the text of the other two buttons. And just like we did before, we can either like copy and paste it, or we can just use select one of the texts and just change the color normally. But we did make some changes to the font, so we will firstly change the color, just like we did. Then we're going to right click the font and paste it, like this. So select the font, change the color, and we're going to paste what we had on the other fonts, just like that. Now we have all the same settings on all three texts and the buttons. Now this is a thing that a lot of tutorials don't really do. They don't really show how you can change the hover, the pressed, and the normal kind of stuff. So when we hover over a button, I want it to do something like move, play a sound, change color, change font, like, do you know what I mean? So this is what I'm going to show you how to do now. Also, if you wanted to, you can actually add a background image and change the opacity just like this. And this could actually look pretty sick if you have the right background. But this is just like another little tip that you can do. So as you can see, like if we had 3 of them, like all the exact same, it'd look pretty cool. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to demonstrate it actually, instead of just talking about it. So let's go to Google, and I'm going to type in like hot pink geometric pattern, for example. Something like this. Kind of like the look of this, but I want it like black and white to match the Squid Game theme. And we're also going to need it horizontal instead of vertical. So let's just like pink and black, and that's exactly what I want actually. So let's just copy this image, and I'm gonna, in fact, actually just drag it to my desktop, just like this. I've got it, it's a JPG, and let's import this, just like this, There it is. Import our other image, and this can be like the background for the button. So with this selected and the button selected, I'm gonna click this arrow and it'll change the background just like this. So you can see like this could look pretty cool, but I don't really know what the deal is here because I can't really size it, and I feel like it should be sizing it. So we're just gonna forget I even tried to do that. So if you actually go to this website, there's an easy fix. It's called Photopea. It's basically Photoshop but for free. And we'll just open our image here, just like this. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees. Just, oops. Like that, I guess. Minus 90. And then we can resize the actual canvas itself. So let's just position this here. In fact, you know what? I'm just going to go to screen and select like 1920 by 1080 or 1280, 720, just like that. Create a new one, and then we're just going to drag our image in, and then it'll already be done. So don't have to resize the canvas then. Can find it. Where is it? Here. There we go. We're just going to rotate this by minus 90, like that. Drag this up here. In fact, actually, we'll do it like this. Make it a little bit more like something like that. That'll do for me. Like that. And then we need to crop this. Do that. And oh, amazing. Like this. Right, so we're just gonna crop this down. I just want to show you like how you can just easily make changes and like be a little bit creative. So if I just do this and export PNG and name this like button background, who needs to spell, then open that, boom, and then I can just drag this in. So instead of it being vertical like this, I'm sure you can do it in Unreal, but I'm not actually sure how. Let's delete that. We do not need that anymore. Open this like that, button background in, and now you can see it's vertical, horizontal. And if we go back to our WB, select this image and then this one. Wait, no, this one. Highlight it, click the button, and we have a background. So you could do something like that, and it would look like something like this. You know what I mean? Okay, cool. And you can also edit the colors. Well, to be honest, I don't know how you do the size on there. Like I'm guessing it should be just like, it should just work, but guess not. But with that said, let's move on to the next bit. Okay. Well, if we played this now anyway, and when we click the button down, it obviously will not do anything, so we need to tell it to actually do something. And that will be in here. All here. Okay. So if we go to designer, and we're going to click the button that we want to add the functionality to. And we scroll down all the way to here, and here on clicked, now it's asking us what do you want us to do. So for example, like if we printed a string like this, if we click this button here, it'll say hello on our screen, right? We're not going to do that. We're actually just going to open level, and then we'll, for example, open the third person map. Wait, hold on. Right, okay, like this. So if this is your game and this is actually in your game, this obviously won't be the third person map. This will be like, for my example, basically I'm making a squid game. So like mine here would be squid game or whatever. And you can also do this. You can do open level by name, and you can just actually write the name, but it's got to be exact. So make sure you do that properly. So let's just do that. Right, sweet. So if we were actually to sort out our project, and I go here, project settings, and we go to maps and modes, default map needs to be the main menu map, because like when you load up this game, you want the main menu to show first. You don't want it to go straight into the game, do you? Like obviously you want to show the main menu first, so that's why we do this. So let me try and find. I don't know why my editor's all like this. Right, here we go. Sweet. Click that. Click the arrow. Click the arrow. Sorted. Right, okay, so once we've got this done, now when we click the button, obviously it's going to open the map, yeah? But we need to do this, right? So we're in our main menu level here. Don't worry about this here. I was just testing something. Right, open level blueprint, and here we're going to go and delete this one. Tick, we don't need that. And we're going to go create widget like this. What widget we're going to be creating? And we're going to go widget blueprint underscore main menu, the one we've just created. So like that. On when the event begins, we're going to create this. Simple as, okay? And then what we need to do, add to viewport like this. And then the player is still going to be able to like move around and stuff. So we don't really want that. And we want get the get player controller like this. And then we're going to go set input game. No, same set game. No, set input UI only. There we go. Set input UI only. That's the one. Right. That was a bit of a struggle. Jesus. And then the widget we want to focus on. This one. So do that. And I'll make it easier to read for you by doing this. And we're going to go highlight them two, press Q, drag it down. There. And we can read that. Easy. Now, what do we know? Now what do we need to do? We need to get out of this again. So drag out the return value, and we're going to get the show mouse cursor like this, and we're going to show it, okay? Because once we're in the main menu, we need to see our cursor, and when we're in the game, we don't want this weird little arrow floating about, do we? So that's what we do there. Sweet. Now if we play, now we get our menu, right, sorted. And when we click start, there we go. I'm going to show you that again. Right, so click settings, nothing happens, quit, nothing happens. But we added functionality to our start button, so boom, like this. And then, obviously the input is not set yet, so we need to actually like, we're gonna like do some stuff here where we can actually enable the movement for the player, because once I press play now, the movement is still disabled because we disabled it here. Yeah? Okay, sweet. Now we can actually get onto some of the fun stuff, which is changing the buttons around and making it look a little bit cooler, because it looks pretty sick right now, but I'm going to make it even better. Yeah? So what I want to do is, for these three buttons, when I hover over them, like this, say like that, and I hover like that, I want it to do something different, because right now it's changing, but it's not kind of how I want it. So we need to go to the style. Make sure you got the button selected, and we're going to go to, where is the background stuff? Style. Here. Right, okay. So you can do different things, right? So once it's hovered, obviously hovering your mouse, it'll do something like, it'll look like this, as you can see, like when I was hovering a minute ago, like this. You can see it turns white and it goes square around the edges, and it lightens up in the background, right? So if we wanted to do this and change this to, I don't know. Right, so I've just realised that the reason it's not showing is because I'm not playing, right? So, yeah, about that, right? So if we just change this to light blue, go like this, like that, and it should give it a blue tint when we actually click play, because we're not hovering, so yeah, like that. Mate, that just took me about, honestly, you don't even want to know how long to figure out. But yeah, this is how we would do that, and then we can do the same for the other button. So I think I want to change it to, like, what colour we got now? We're going to change it back to this. Oh, wait. We're going to have it the same as this. So we're going to copy on this. Right click. Boom. So then now when we hover, it's going to be the exact same. You see? It's not doing anything, but still play. Right. So this is just because I want to do this. And what we can do now is just drag it a little bit like darker like that. Now this should add like grey tint. Yeah. So it darkens the pink just like this. Or you can lighten it, it's completely up to you. See what it looks like that. Yeah, I think that looks better. Yeah, sweet. Right, I'm gonna actually do that all the way, like that, like that. Now if we wanted to, also, see this outline, what we can do is go like this, and change this completely to, what should we do? You know, so try like a blue. And we do this, we hover, and we got like a blue outline with this like pink background. Or we can just do white. Probably just best doing white, to be honest. Yeah, I like that. I like that. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now, if we right click where it says hovered, copy, like this, paste it, and paste it again, like this. We should be able to click play and it should do it in all three. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Perfect. So that's exactly what we want, really. But it's feeling a little bit stale still. And what else we can do is when we click, no, when we hover. So let's go back. Hover. On hovered. I'm going to add an event for hovered now. And we're going to do this for all three buttons. So designer. This one. Hovered. And start. Hovered. Okay. So let's get these three. And then on hovered, what we're going to do is play sound 2D. Like this. Select the sound. I don't know if you can hear that. Let me just check my OBS. You should be able to hear that. Right, so that every time you hover over it, it's going to play that sound now. So if we do this like that, compile, and we go back to designer, click play. Right, pretty cool. So obviously we've got nothing for this, nothing for this, but we can still play. Right. So let's add some functionality for when we click settings, and obviously we're not going to make a settings menu right now because that is way too long. But if you want that, leave me a comment and I will get that sorted tomorrow probably. So on click like this. So when we click it, we are going to, for example, print string for now, and we're going to say open settings, or opening settings menu. Like that. And if you want to organize these a little bit, click, press C if you want to do this. Hovered, like that. Sound. Compile, and what else do we want to do? We need to add some functionality for the quit button. And I know this is pretty simple, like as simple as it gets really. So the clicked, I'm gonna click on clicked again. We're just gonna move this down, add this here, like that. And for this one, pretty simple. Instead of like printing a string, we can actually do something there. So we're gonna quit game. Sweet. Now we'll say when I go into here now. So obviously it's not gonna like show anything really here, but when I do click play, when I click settings, you can see it's opening the settings menu, and that's what it'll do. That will start the game, and this will just quit the where I click play. Boom, like that. So now we have start, and we have settings, and we have quit. Sweet. That's looking pretty good. Now we're missing a logo, so we're going to do exactly what we did before, where we add a image. Yes, I'm going to drag it on top of the, just in between here, so it's not, because if we do it here, right, I'll show you. If we do it here, it's going to be blurred. There we go. Look, if we do this, because it's lower than the background blur layer, it'll be blurred. And if I just go and add my image now, which is this Squid Game logo, in here, like that, you see it's blurred, so we don't want that. We're going to drag it above the blur layer. Honestly, mate, I promise you, the amount of times I've trying to figure that out, and it's so simple to just like easily get it mixed up, like that. And if you want to align it properly, you can obviously do all this kind of stuff, but I'm really not going to bother today. Well, now we have our Squid Game menu. It's a bit smaller. This. That'll do for me. And now we have our logo. We've got our start button, settings, quit, and we've got our little background as well. Right, okay, so everything's looking pretty good, and we've got the audio, and we've got like the settings and everything working, and then the quit, right? Okay, but the problem is now if we click play and try and move around, I'm pressing my keys right now, nothing's happening, right? And that's because we set this here, right? So we need to basically just like do the opposite once we click play. So in the graph, just gonna go. Where are we going now? So we're gonna get the, what do we need to do? Here. Alright. So on clicked, I get player controller. Right. And then we're gonna set show mouse like this, just like we did before, but basically just gonna do the opposite. And we're gonna turn this off once we start the level. Okay. So what was the next one? I forgot. Set mode. Set game mode. Right, there we go. Right. So we need to set the input mode after we click it back to the game mode only. So then we'll be able to move again. So if we just do this, click play, click start, now we can actually move around. But as you can see, we still have our mouse cursor when we are in our menu screen. So it looks like pretty much everything's working. Right, so what I'm going to do now is going to show you the actual one I made earlier. It's pretty much the exact same as this. So here we go. It's just another version of it, like this. It's got the exact same functionality, same sounds, settings. Obviously this is pretty mad on the left, and it's the exact same like setup. It's like this. Right. Now if I go into here and click play, now this is what we get. So we've loaded into our main level now because that is connected to my main level. Red light, green light, now we can move, creeping about, and I moved when the red light was shown, and now I am chalked. Right, now we're going to take it one step further, and we are going to replace this background image with a video. And this is something I've been wanting to do for like so long, but I could never ever find a way to get it to work. But I finally found a way, and I'm going to show you here today, so let's do that. I just downloaded this little movie, or like clip of the season 3 from Squid Game, and I'm just going to drag it into here. So this will create a like a media file thing. So where is it? Here. I'll just drag that in, just like that. And as you can see, we get a file media source. Next, we're going to right click and create a media player and tick the video output. Rename this to MP underscore red light green light. That's going to be alright for me. So RLGL for me. You can change it to whatever you want. Open it up and save it. We don't need to do anything in here. Now what we're going to do is create a material from our media texture. Okay. So let's just right click on the media texture, create material. I'm not going to rename it anything, and it should show something like this. And that is perfectly fine. Just drag the RGB down into emissive color, click apply, and we can just close that. Now let's click on the background. Sorry, the image background, not the background blur. And we're going to replace this. So as you can see, it's just white now. And if we just, it's usually easier to just open up your content browser and just select it from there. So if we could just like control space and we have our material selected, I'm just going to save it quickly. Now we can actually go back to the background if this will close like that. Go back to brush, image. Yeah, so it's this one. I was just checking. And then click the arrow, and there we go. And it should be like a transparent background. And then click change material, just like that if you get that little red box. If you don't, then don't. And that should be all you need to do for that. Next, we're going to open the level blueprint. And we need to add a new variable. And this is just going to be media player. And then change the type from Boolean. I'm going to change this to media player ref. And then, yeah, change the type of the Boolean. There we go. Just change the media player. And it's going to be object reference. And then in the drop down, just select what we made before. That'll be the MP, red light, green light. Now, from the event begin play, we're going to get our media player reference, or variable, whatever. Open source, just like this. And connect that up, just like that. That's just a line of stuff. Now we can drag out of this and search for set looping. Make sure it's not set loop. And the return value is going to go into here. And we're just going to connect it up. And the media source is going to be what we created earlier. It'll be the red light, green light. And the target will also be the media player. So let's just move this like down. Oops. Like this. Drag out. Connect that up to target. And we're going to neaten this up by adding a reroute node. And then we can compile and save. And these are from a mistake I made earlier, so you don't need to do that. Let's click save all. And now when we click play, here we have our video in the background, and that really does look sick. Like, it looks so cool now. And we're definitely getting there. I'm just going to test out some of this and change the padding at the top for each of these buttons just to 25, so it'll be 25 in every single axis like that. And we can just drag this down a little bit because I want it more centralized. Okay, sweet. So I think that's going to do it for this video. If you're interested in the whole Squid Game series, do me a favor, subscribe. Trying to get to 1k and drop a like because it really helps. I will catch you later. Goodbye.